It's another lovely and beautiful Tuesday right here in Kaduna. And I would say better late than never. A million and one things happening at the same time, and one can easily get overwhelmed. Well, thank God I made it to the studio, and we'll still see how we can make the best of the little time that we have on the Never Dull Moment program on radio Ground Zero. My name is Ehis Adon, and today on Ground Zero, we shall generally be looking at the most trending issues presently in the polity, which is the investigation that is presently going on at the Niger Delta Development Commission, and by extension the Ministry of Niger Delta, because the honorable minister in charge of Niger Delta is also involved in all of these investigations that is going on. There has been allegations and counter allegations, accusations and counter accusations, and all of that has been happening in and around that corridor. And the corridor that we are talking about is the Niger Delta corridor. Last week, it was a case of I am the only woman that had ever slapped someone. Also last week, it was a case of go and ask her four past husbands, what her temperament is all about. Also last week, it was a case of a governor rescuing in commando style a former acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Guess what? This week, when we thought we've seen it all last week, this week we are down to it again. Like what some people like to tag the special edition of Nollywood that's taking place within the corridors of power and within and around the Niger Delta Ministry and the Niger Delta Development Commission. Just yesterday, the interim managing director of the Niger Delta Commission, Professor Ponde, yes, was meeting with the House of Representative Committee on Niger Delta Affairs, and they were trying to investigate the allegations of graft in that particular commission. And in the process of it all, last week, if you recall, also the interim managing director walked out on the honorable members, saying that that the chairman of that committee does not have the moral justification to chair a committee that is investigating alleged corruptions in that ministry when that particular person was a direct beneficiary of some of the sleaze that's been happening in that particular commission. And guess what? This week, in the middle of all of the investigation, we saw that someone was passing out. While some people said that he was stressed out with all of the questions, some also say that he is dazed by the number of figures being bounded around, while another group of persons believe that it was another Nollywood flick that is being played out. The Professor Ponde collapsed or fainted in the middle of it all and had to be rushed out of the venue of the committee investigation. Just after that, we also saw the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, in the person of Godswill Akpabio, taking the stand and also making wide allegations that shook the fight against corruption to its roots. That's the anti-corruption fight. It shook it to its root when he made wide accusation, or when he dropped the bomb that even all the members that are investigating the Niger Delta knows how it is, because they are direct beneficiaries of the sleaze that is going on in the Niger Delta. And to make it even a little bit more dramatic, the what's the name of this female member was insisting to know more details about it, and the acting chairman of the committee and other members of the committee can say, okay, it's enough, it's okay, it's enough. I'd love to play you that audio, but let's see how it goes. Okay, these are majorly what we'll be looking at on Ground Zero today. And also, we'll be looking at the local government accountability mechanism that's been put in place, and of course the webinar that we'll be holding tomorrow morning, and looking at some of the participants that will be there and how you, of course, can also listen in on what we'll be doing. So today on the program, Ground Zero is going to just be chap, and we go. And of course, you can add your voice to the conversation at the right time by calling us when we provide the number. I am Ehis Adon, and my in-studio guest already stated. I have Danjuma Abbas Dangwa. He's already with me in the studio. Danjuma, you are welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you very much, Ahis. It's a pleasure being here, and good evening to the listeners.
All right. And let's go straight to talking about it. I'll be connecting with other guests on the program. In the course of the program, you get to hear them also give their impression about what we are talking about. Eddie Ochibo is standing by. Abdul Bako Usman is standing by. And we'll also be getting to Musa Bala. Let them all add their voices to the conversation this evening. Okay. Danjuma, let's come straight to you. You are with us in the studio. Let's talk about this whole Niger Delta Development Commission investigation that is going on.
Yeah.
And the humongous amount of money that is being that is being investigated, over 80 billion naira within 6 months. Martins, what's your take on this?
Well, this is the very reason why we say citizens should keep eternal vigil. Someone said that the price of liberty, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. You know, then that is now transcending to what we have around governance. Without accountability in place, this kind of there seems to be more news, waiting to be unearthed from what we are even hearing concerning Niger Delta, until people take the responsibility of ensuring that the people they vote to power, or the people who occupy public offices in this country, are accountable. This kind of situation will persist. It's so sad. It's so sad that the fight against corruption, after what we have always been seeing and talking about, and bringing the attention of government towards, it is now blowing up in our faces. The challenges being faced around the Niger Delta are pitiable enough that this kind of funds that we're hearing should have been said to have improved the life and situation of the people in the Niger Delta, for whom this commission was established. But sadly, that is not so. We are now hearing that our lawmakers, besides earning that high amount of that high figures that we have always decried as undue benefits, are still being fingered to be contractors in the Niger Delta Development Commission. It tells you that the processes, the entire arrangement of governance at that level has been reduced to cronyism, people doing it for their friends, favors being dished out here and there for people who are close enough to power, or people who are themselves being elected and appointed into offices to keep watch on our behalf on how the resources of this nation is being expended. That is the reason why we, as civil society, we're always calling out to the public to be interested in the workings, in the things that are going on in government. Because until you are participating, you may never be able to really have the kind of service delivery that you want to see. Service delivery have suffered now as far as the NDDC is concerned.
Yeah.
We do not know the number of people who are on scholarships under the NDDC right now that are out there in foreign nations not having their needs met because some people here have decided that these issues are not their priorities. Of course, we are hearing very high figures that are going even for expenses that it doesn't take a literate person to really understand that monies are just being expended without any quantifiable result that is targeted at the public, except of course for the people who have access to the till, who can dip their hands in there and do as they please. Thankfully, the investigation is ongoing. Maybe it is unearthing a can of worms. We do not know how deep this goes. But again, I will also want to acknowledge and appreciate the standpoint of the president. President Muhammadu Buhari dropped it on Twitter recently, where he stated categorically that the investigations should continue. The findings of these investigations are of great importance to him as he continues in his struggle to ensure that the people of the Niger Delta are not shortchanged. Because obviously, right now, the entire blame game that is ongoing has not really solved the problem on how reforms that have taken place over the years around public procurement, around fiscal transparency is still giving room, for some of these shady deals to happen, even in commissions like the Niger Delta Development Commission. We do not even have an idea about what is even happening in the ministry. You hear the minister pushing the ball to the managing director that he is only having a supervisory role, and then it is also exposing some of the weaknesses around the act that is establishing that commission, which is now going to be a matter of concern, I believe, to the National Assembly and even Nigerians at large, especially the Niger Delta people for whom this commission was established in the first place.
Yes, the Niger Delta people at the end of the day will be at the receiving end of all of these that is happening even in the ministry. Now, let's come to the investigation proper now.
Yes.
That's ongoing at the National Assembly. You see, yesterday when Akpabio looked at the committee members and told them, you all are part of all of this because you guys are direct beneficiaries.
Yes.
You are the ones that all the contracts in the Niger Delta are awarded to. And they tried to sweep everything under the carpet. What does that say of the quality of those we have at as our lawmakers who have oversight functions in respect of this commission?
Thankfully, this is what we are seeing of the NDDC. We do not know what is happening elsewhere, but for a long time now, the squabbles in the assembly, the squabbles in position in public offices have seemed to not really be one that is in the interest of the people. It has not been in the interest of providing services. It has always been in the interest of what is in it for me as an individual. That seems to be the kind of mindset that we're having. Remember, again, that not too long ago, we had somebody who was tipped to be running for the office of Senate President, whose sins were forgiven at the nick of time when he dropped that ambition. The case of the former Gombe State Governor before the EFCC was withdrawn before a federal court. This is what you get when the people decide to just pocket their hands and say, like some of the political analysts will always say, you have already voted them into office, they have their job cut out for them, you shouldn't bother about going to do the very things that they are supposed to do. Because it is not just the civil society that goes in to say they are ensuring that there is probity or accountability in government institutions. It is the statutory responsibility of this assembly to ensure that oversight functions continues, as far as governance is concerned. And look at the kind of damages that we're talking about. Some of these things have even happened during the COVID-19 lockdown,
yes,
when our assembly, of course, must have been must have also been locked down because of the pandemic. The people who were still in public offices running government affairs were still doing what they were doing. Now this is just NDDC. How much more on other critical sectors that we have not looked at? And it is a shame that these members elected have turned around to become the same people who are doing projects and contracts for the same ministries, departments, and agencies of government that they are providing oversight over.
Yes.
So how do you expect accountability? How do you expect that there is value for money? How do you expect competitiveness and fair play? In fact, how do you expect the rule of law to be adhered to in this case? With the nature of the uproar that came about, especially from the panel that was investigating the NDDC and the Ministry for Niger Delta, you could hear them shouting down that it is okay, say no more. That these are issues that you don't need to talk about it here. We can close from here. We don't need to hear all of that. But these are issues that are very, very germane to Nigerians. After all, we are at the receiving end. That is why when we cry out, we are crying out from the vantage point where we are aware that the services that ought to be delivered to the people is not getting to them. So until we have that happening, we will continue to cry out. Government should be responsive to help citizens ensure that there is accountability. These issues that we are hearing now from this public hearing is because the assembly have the powers to demand for that information. If this information was in the public space in the first instance, where citizens can write to government and access information, these things wouldn't have been this bad. SERAP is doing a lot of job. There are a lot of organizations that are asking questions every now and then. Freedom of Information Act is in this is functional in this country, but not really aiding the kind of results that we want to see, because most of these ministries, departments, and agencies of government are not as responsive as they should be, even to the people who are representatives, and also to the people who they are supposed to even serve in the first place. So clearly, it's a case of misplaced priorities. A lot of corruption seems to smell in NDDC, and it is very sad that the same people who are supposed to provide that oversight function are also being fingered in this mess.
All right. The program is Ground Zero right here on Invicta 98.9 FM, and we are looking at the investigation that is presently going on in respect of the Niger Delta Development Commission, and of course matters arising. And on the program today, we'll also be looking at the local government accountability mechanism that's in place and how it's benefiting governance in total. But first, let's take this break. Right after the break, we'll bring on board Eddie Ochidbo and Musa Bala right after this commercial timeout. All right, welcome back from that commercial timeout. The program is still Ground Zero right here on Invicta 98.9 FM. Before we took that timeout, we are talking about the investigation that's going on at the Niger Delta Development Commission, and yesterday the seemingly drama that happened where the interim committee chairman, in the person of Professor Ponde, collapsed right in the middle of the questioning, and of course allegations coming from Godswill Akpabio, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. Now let's get to Musa Bala. Are you with me, Musa Bala?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, Musa Bala. First of all, what's your general take on this whole thing?
My general take is an expression of worry. The entire explosion of what was been taking place in NDDC is not only injurious to Nigeria, but a very big factor that leads to our underdevelopment, not only in the Niger Delta, but the entire country.
Yeah.
The revelation in Niger Delta is almost exactly what has been taking place in almost all the 774 local government of the Federation. and the 36 states of the federation. The difference is the degree of the corruption, because the project director of NDDC recently revealed that more than 1,000 contract was given to members of the National Assembly, more than 1,000.
Yeah.
And he says that a contract of 700 million in NDDC, you will use only 10 million to finish it. What kind of revelation is this? What kind of a country are we? And this region, despite this huge amount of money, there are a lot of communities without potable drinking water. There are a lot of communities without a good and safe house to live.
Yeah.
In fact, they are in abject poverty like any other area that don't have anything.
All right.
And I want to tell Nigerians that my findings prove that the president deliberately appointed a Fabio. Because if it was somebody outside, this revelation would not happen. You use an insider to get what you want to get. It's late for Nigeria for us to know what to do again.
Okay.
But the exposure, we have not finished it yet. A lot of revelation. It's unfortunate that National Assembly are saying that they suspended it to further notice.
Musa Bala, I want to quickly ask you a question. You said the president is using Akpabio to bring out information that ordinarily wouldn't come out. Is it that the president knows that Akpabio will get into the mix of all of these or be fingered in all of these, or what exactly?
It is not an official information that is coming from the president or the presidency.
I know, an impression.
Yes. If it is not Akpabio that is the minister, many revelation against him or that come from other people, and the revelation that come from other people too against him would not have happened.
Okay.
But because Akpabio is an actor, of which stakeholders or players in the game know it very well. So that they'll be saying that, how can you dare prove us when me and you were together? Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I understand what you mean. Let me quickly go to Abdul Bako. Abdul Bako Usman, President Campaign for Democracy. What's your take in all of this?
Yes, for me, before I go on, good evening, listeners, and my respective colleague there, Abbas Sangwa and Musa Bala Edi Oshubo, and your humble self.
Thank you.
You will agree with me that what is playing in the Niger Delta has long been in existence. In the good days of Umpadek, we saw worst case scenarios like this, but having gotten into this change mantra of the APC, we thought activities within the Niger Delta Ministry and particularly NDDC will be quite a different ball game. But what we are seeing as a revolution today, it's quite alarming. It's quite merciful.
Yeah, Abdul, I want us, because of lack of time, let's talk about the drama that happened at National Assembly yesterday. What's your take? Was it a drama, or was Professor Ponde sincerely ill that he fainted?
Yes, on my take, he's on acting capacity. So he thought that acting of a thing is not acting on behalf of NDDC, but he thought he was going to act a movie for Nigerians to witness, and he displayed such action in the public domain. But what I was trying to say is, I agree with you holistically that if really we want to have this mess in the NDDC to be at the public domain fully, we should bring back, shuffle our administration and bring back Festus Keyamo to head that ministry so that we will get the details. Otherwise, it will always be a mirage, the fight against corruption, as the case may be.
All right. Eddie Ochido, I'll come to you now. Abdul Bako just said that we'll look at the possibility of bringing Keyamo to that ministry. Keyamo and Akpabio, they seem to be strange bedfellows, because one was actually on the side of prosecuting one so many months ago. Until recently, they both became members of the same party. And initially, Keyamo was the Minister of State, Niger Delta, but a few months Was it even up to months before there was reshufflement? I had to be drafted to labor and employment as Minister of State there. Now, also, Kayamo is having a running battle with the with our legislatures in respect of employment. But since that's not what we are talking about, we are talking about Niger Delta today. First, what's your take on this, and what do you think is the way out of all of this brouhaha that's happening in the Niger Delta between the managers of the Niger Delta Development Commission and our legislatures? Eddie.
Thank you very much, Ahi. My warm regards to the listening public. What is happening, like we said on your show a few days back, in the Niger Delta, the NDDC in particular, is a theater of the absurd. Mm. And what happened in the National Assembly is also not a drama. It's the absurdity gone beyond
beyond civilized reasoning.
Yes, it's just gone beyond reasoning. And what is happening on the one hand is very, very regrettable. But on the other hand, too, it will serve as an eye-opener to Nigerians that government is actually not representing the interests of the people. Because like Musa Bala said, it is that of the NDDC that we have seen. Yeah. All the agencies, ministries, if you go deep and they go on for the forensic auditing, they might even discover what's true. So the NDDC drama is a microcosm of Nigeria as a whole, and it's unfortunate. How on earth, the commonwealth of a people that are drinking mud water, they don't have food, they don't have health care, there is nothing to show, and this is the very goose that lay.
Yeah, the golden egg.
And then you even put their own son, the son of the shore, as our people will call it, and to oversee this thing, and you see people pocketing billions and millions and billions. You don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
And then that professor, what manner of professor is that? What kind of a professor is that? When they started doing some drama and fainting, and there was this cartoon. They say the people that put one hand in his mouth, they say he should vomit the money that he took. So it's a shame that in a government that came under the mantra of corruption fight, characters like that are still, in the government doing even worse than the PDP. Yeah. This is too much. I don't think the PDP time they did this kind of a thing.
All right.
Something billion, and you begin to share it amongst yourselves. And even the members of the National Assembly, who are supposed to be the representatives of the people, their hands are neck deep. They are neck deep in the entire saga.
All right.
It's a shame.
All right, Eddie, let's, for lack of time, let's just leave that at that and quickly look at the next item that we have today, the Local Government Accountability Mechanism series that will be on, that has been on, but it's getting to another level tomorrow because tomorrow, Ground Zero, along with CALPED, that's Coalition of Association of Leadership, Peace, Empowerment and Development, with the Ministry of Local Government Affairs, the PEL, and also budgets, bridging the gap, will all will all be part of this package tomorrow, where we'll be looking at the Local Government Accountability Mechanism series. Specifically, the theme of tomorrow's webinar is COVID-19, Local Government Response, Recovery Plans, and Reforms Sustainability. I would like Danjuma Abbas Dangwa to give us a little bit more insight into what this is all about before we go to the other panelists.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic had brought about a crisis globally. This crisis has affected governance. Kaduna State rolled out a governance continuity plan as a response to the pandemic. The recovery now is how we get back on our feet. You know, our economy, our socio-political development, and all. So all of these things are happening not without resources. We want to hear. We're pushing for the local government accountability mechanism, which has already been in place before now.
Yeah.
There's been this high level of citizens' engagement, which was promoted by the local government reforms and the local government development plans and the local government fiscal transparency, accountability, and sustainability framework.
Yeah.
And all of that was that citizens will be participating in budget. Citizens will not just be participating in the budget preparation process, but they will also be participating in the budget implementation process, having access to the procurement records, knowing what government is spending money for, and tracking to ensure that service is delivered. So all of that is to drive and champion for good governance. Good governance for us should not just be something we discuss at the federal and state level tier of government alone. It should be something that is grounded deep down to the local governments, because the local government actually is the umbrella where all grassroots actors are actually within. So the accountability mechanism is sustainability. These reforms, as important as they are, we want to hear how well the council chairman, the legislative councils in the local government council, and the Ministry of Local Government is working towards sustaining that space for citizens to hold government accountable.
Okay, now, tomorrow's webinar is basically going to have some of our major panelists as Alhaji Jafar Usani, the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Local Government Affairs, Kaduna State.
Yeah.
And also one of the panelists is going to be Badamosi Musa. He's the Deputy Director, State Planning and Budget Commission. And we also have the Honorable Chairman, the Executive Chairman, Lere Local Government Council, in person of Honorable Abubakar Buba, as one of the panelists. And also we have the Executive Chairman of Jemaah Local Government Area, Honorable Patrick Danjuma Avrik, as one of the panelists. And we also have the Executive Chairman of Kajuru Local Government Council, Honorable Kafra Kaino, also one of the panelists. And the last but not the least, we have the elected councillor of Sabontasha Ward in Chikun Local Government Area, Honorable Ganaka James Kogi, as one of the panelists. It would interest you to know that all of this will be moderated by Yusuf Goje. He's the head leadership, governance, and advocacy at Coalition of Association of Leadership, Peace, Empowerment, and Development. We also have yours truly. I'll be one of the moderators too tomorrow. We have our own Didam La, the presenter of Bridging the Gap. He's one of the moderators, sorry. And we have Philip Daniel Yatai from the News Agency of Nigeria. And also we have Joshua James, the executive producer and presenter of Open Kaduna Radio, as one of the panelists. We do not have much time on our hands. Let's quickly take some calls, and we'll come back to our guest. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. Yes, 30 seconds. Let's have your name and go straight to the point.
Engineer Emmanuel.
All right, Engineer Emmanuel, shoot on.
It's rather unfortunate. What I will say on this revelation or this script that man placed to us yesterday is rather unfortunate. When he was eating the dollar, he did not faint. He was swallowing it. So I think he should vomit all those dollars he has eaten. And I give my former governor, the Minister for Niger Delta, less than 4 hours to name all those National Assembly that have collected one contract or the other and they did not do it. But these people, honestly, they are so greedy. greedy and selfish. Despite the juicy allowances they are collecting and salary, they still occupy, they still collect contracts not being done. Even that chairman that was saying it's enough, he needs to be probed as well. I think they will get a private investigator to investigate this thing, because if it is those National Assembly, nothing good will come out from that investigation.
All right. Thank you, Engineer Emmanuel. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Linda online from Kurumashi.
All right, Linda. Let's have your take.
In fact, it's rather unfortunate. All the whole drama in this country is very rather unfortunate. I'm very disappointed in our leaders. I'm very, very disappointed. I'm very angry with our leaders. If all this is playing out, this is only Niger Delta. Much more older states and local governments. In fact, we are in serious problem and we are in serious dilemma. If Nigeria will not rise, that means we are heading to doom. That's nothing else again.
All right.
Because people are pocketing our money every day and nothing has been done. I said they are fighting for corruption. In what manner? I've never seen such government before in my life.
All right.
To help this country.
Thank you, Linda. All right, 081400989 and 07087880099. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Good evening, Ehis.
Yes, you're welcome to the program. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Pius. I'm calling you from Alali, Kaduna.
All right, quickly, Pius.
Actually,
Let's have your take.
What happened yesterday? It was it's quite unfortunate. It was disgusting. I am telling you. Look, as somebody from that region, this case, they need to investigate this case very well. They need to go to the root cause of this case. If it means going back to 1999 in order to dig it deep to find the lasting solution. There is no how that people have no road in that region. If you are going to the village now, you have to just go and follow flying boat to your own village. No road, nothing. But just one day, somebody is spending 4.5 billion. Kai, I wish that maybe. Kai, good evening, Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Pius. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good evening, good evening, the moderators here. I'm Kure by name.
All right, Mr. Kure, quickly, let's have your take.
Thank you. I am not surprised. The APC chairman tells us that it is cross carpet, your sin is forgiven. So that's what is happening in APC and the entire Nigeria. I am not surprised. Buhari appoint people that will shame him at the end of the day. So I'm just waiting for the drama, and I keep on praying. I want to see the end of this drama. God should take me come 2023. We will know who is cheating Nigeria, and we've got to know who. I'm begging INEC to always consider the common man voting, so that we will speak the people that are governing us. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kure. Let's take our last call. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. You may have to move away from your radio so that we can hear you. Oh, we lost him. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from? You are our last caller. In 30 seconds, let's have your take.
To Chief Sebastian from Maraba Radio.
All right, Chief Sebastian, quickly, let's have your take.
Yeah. Okay, I thank the youth panelists. Please say what will happen at Abuja is very, very unfortunate. Please, we want the government to investigate well. We thank Buhari for this type of investigation. And we like him, not only this Niger Delta issue, let him touch other issues. Like all those people who ran from another party to APC to cover up, please. We want Buhari to touch all of them so that all this money that has been taken away will be brought back so that Nigerians will make use of it for important issues.
All right. Thank you, Chief Sebastian. Okay, let's come back to the studio. We really do not have much time on our hands. We'll just round up. Okay, let's just round up the program. I'll come to Danjuma Abbas Dangwa. What will be your parting shots and generally in respect of today's program, and what do you have to say?
Well, government must continue to live above board. They must ensure that citizens can have access to such records, that this kind of show of shame is mitigated. It can only be mitigated when there is accountability. Accountability cannot be in place where there is no transparency, and transparency itself can also not be in place when the people who are being appointed into public offices are being appointed only on the basis of political patronage and not on the basis of the job description that they are supposed to fulfill. It is very unfortunate that we are looking for money to borrow to finance shortfalls in our budget, and yet we are still having this level of monumental theft and misappropriation of funds. For the tomorrow's engagement, anybody who is interested in improving governance, you should make sure you register on that link and get on board, participate, know it for yourself what the issues are. Thank you.
How can they get across over to the link?
Facebook. Okay. Well, the link is on Invicta FM's Facebook account. Yeah. It is on Calpet's Facebook account. It is on Twitter. It is also circulating in WhatsApp groups, especially that are governance inclined.
All right. Okay. I guess it's about the size of today's package of the program. But before I go, I want to sincerely appreciate Eddie Ochigbo, Musa Bala, and of course Abdul Bako Usman for having time to be on the program. Unfortunately, we lost them in the course of discussion, and I wasn't able to re-establish contact with them. I thank you all for your contributions. I'd also want to appreciate Danjuma Abbas Dangwa for being in the studio to also add his voice to the conversation. And last but definitely not the least, I would also want to appreciate you, the caller and the listener, for being there, because without you, I have no reason of being here. Until on Saturday, when we'll be on again for another package of the program Ground Zero, I would say this to you, that whatever your labors and aspirations in this noisy confusion of life, you should learn to keep peace with your soul, with all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams. It's a beautiful world that we live in. Be careful, strive to be happy. I am Ehis Adbon. I am the peacemaker with a passion for crowd satisfaction. Let's meet tomorrow at the Local Government Accountability Mechanism Seminar, workshop or webinar that we'll be holding. Go to the Invicta FM Facebook page. You'll see the link to join. Go to the Ground Zero Facebook page. You'll see the link to join. And, of course, you can go to the Carped Facebook page where you'd also get the link to join. Meet up. Come to my Twitter handle, @his_peacemaker, and you'd also have access to the link on how you can be a part of the webinar tomorrow. I'd say, sleep well. May the good mighty Lord bless us all.
Assalamu alaikum Hajiya Amina.
Wa alaikum assalam Sharifa. Maraba sannu da zuwa. Shigo.
Na gode, wallahi Hajiya, da alamar kina cin lafiyayyen abinci.
Me kika gani?
Ke da ƴaƴanki sai ƙara ƙyalli kuke yi.
Kai Sharifa, kina da ban dariya. To amma ai tunda muka fara cin sabuwar pakitin Golden Mon na Wazobia ne.
Golden Mon a cikin pakitin Wazo?
Haka ne yar uwata.
Haba Hajiya, bari ni da iyali na mu ma mu mori lafiyayyen abincin mu na.
Golden Mon, mai sanya kowace rana ta kasance da armashi.
Bayar da cutar da ke bambasa maka kofa. Ce musu sai an jima domin ba ma bukatar su baki daya. Suna kawo cututtuka da kwayoyin su muhallan mu.